I'm probably going to trigger a lot of people today. And before I begin, I want to apologise. So this is my apology letter. I'm sorry if what I'm about to say makes you uncomfortable. I'm sorry if it challenges ideas you've held on to for a long time. I'm sorry if it feels personal, but sometimes the truth is uncomfortable. So today, I want to talk about something that I call the fat tax, a universal tax that doesn't care whether you're on a weight loss injection or not. It doesn't care if you're rich or poor. It doesn't care whether you're short or tall, black, white, brown, red, yellow or purple. And it doesn't care what country you come from and what part of the continent you live on. You are not exempt, and the fat tax doesn't discriminate, because whether people want to admit it or not, being overweight often comes with a cost that nobody talks about. And while I don't want to hurt people's feelings, pretending there is no cost is like ignoring repeated charges leaving your bank account. You may not notice them at first. They can feel small, easy to dismiss, but eventually you check your balance and realise something has been draining you for a long time. And here's the most important part. This isn't about shame or judgment, and I'm not saying that anyone is less worthy because of their size. It's about acknowledging the cause so that we can change it, because you cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. And if there's a hidden tax being paid every day, perhaps the most loving thing we can do is become aware of it. And just to add to that, I very much acknowledge that not everybody arrived there the same way. Some people inherit certain predispositions. Some people grow up in environments where weight struggles are common. Also dealing with medications, health conditions. Therefore, our paths are not all the same, and while the causes may differ, the costs are often remarkably similar. So I apologise for bringing a conversation many people would rather avoid, and for pointing at something uncomfortable, because fat tax doesn't care how you got there. You know what's interesting about the fat tax? It's quite subtle at first, and most people don't know they're paying for it. And most importantly, they don't know what they're paying for. Nobody receives a bill, nobody gets a warning letter, nobody knocks on your door, and there's no monthly statement that arrives saying, congratulations, this month your fat tax payment is £347. It accumulates quietly month after month, year after year, and because it's hidden, most people don't notice it until they look back. And that's why people often look at an old photograph and say, how did I get here? Because the cost wasn't paid all at once. It was paid in tiny installments, a little less energy here, a bit of discomfort there, less confidence, more illness, more breathlessness, more pain, and more limitation. The fat tax is rarely one dramatic event. It's the multiplication of 1,000 invisible deductions, and that is why I find this conversation so important, because many people think the cost of being overweight begins when a doctor says something is wrong, and I don't think that's true. I think for many people, the cost starts much earlier. Somewhere along the way, compromises were made. Invisible compromises, saying yes when you wanted to say no, putting yourself last. And maybe it was becoming someone else's unpaid therapist. Maybe it's carrying responsibilities that were never yours to carry. The fat tax begins long before the weight arrives. And for many people, this isn't a body story, it's a life story, which is why weight loss is often promoted as a lifestyle change, because sometimes the weight isn't about food. Sometimes it's about pressure, stress, responsibilities, and like I said, compromises. The body often reveals what life has been carrying, which is why I often don't believe transformation starts on the scale. As you all know, I am on a GLP-1 medication, but beneath the GLP-1 medication are life stories. Stories that were carried, collected, whatever word I'd wish to use, and if I wanted the medication to work, I had to become curious about the cause, while the weight itself was the effect. The moment I addressed my taxation sheet and started making deductions on what no longer served me, I started seeing more evidential change. My repayments came in the form of more energy, more confidence, more time, more freedom, more trust that I was on the right path. And talking of time, do you know how much time I got back once I removed unnecessary conversations that didn't need to happen? The mental space I got back, the energy I got back. Yes, being on a GLP-1 did play a part in it, but the goal was simply to stop paying a price that wasn't mine, and most importantly, a price I no longer wish to pay for. To stop volunteering for suffering, to stop carrying burdens that belong to other people, to stop negotiating against my own well-being. Many of us were paying for hidden costs that don't belong to us. So I hope this encourages you to identify your own hidden cost, to look at your own taxation sheet, and to start making deductions on the things that are contributing to your fat tax. Because fat tax doesn't care how you got there. It doesn't care whether you're on a GLP-1 or not. The question is, how much longer are you willing to keep paying?